So today I'm going to cover management of grant and seed funding. That's what is the topic which has been given to me. But having said that, before starting the slides, I also don't like slides, but of course we have to discuss in slides only so that people will be able to relate it. What I want to know is what kind of a challenges you people are facing when managing grants and seed funding. So that I can, the main purpose of having this session, one is having collaboration. Second is how we can understand or learn from each other's mistake. If somebody has done the mistake, then how can we learn from that, and so that we don't have to repeat that mistake. That's the main purpose of having this session. What I'm not going to be like other speakers, where I am going to come on those people. If they have questions, then I'm going to answer those questions with my limited experience of almost 20 years, which I will be able to try to solve it. If not, then we can we can discuss over tea or dinner how both of us can solve that problem. That's the main intention. Okay, first thing first, ask question, interact with each other, not with your phone. That's what is the something which I want to which I want to bring here, so that let's discuss with each other. I asked one question: what kind of a problem we are facing when we are managing grants or seed funding? Can anybody please?
We are governing a milestone based kind of a funding, and every time the major challenge that we face is that we are not getting the grants on time.
Grants
To
on time
be,
from the
yeah.
government. Okay, that's something I am also not able to answer. But having said that, I guess there are going to be a lot more changes in the government body in the sense they are coming into this PFMS system. Then there is something called TSA, where the real time accounting is going to be happening now. What I believe is that government is very cautious on those side, and I do understand this kind of a problem everybody is facing. Some of the agencies we are already in talks, and they are solving those problems, and they have promised they are going to solve this problem by coming year or something. So we may have to wait till that time. But having said that, one important thing what we have to map is that when are we getting the money, and how are we mapping the milestones. Once we track the milestones, once we get to know how the startups are going to be achieving those milestones, we should also be a little proactive. We should not sit till the end where funding is not there and then we are reaching out to the government. Our approach should be a little proactive, not the reactive. That's what I believe we can solve that. By the way, at Sign we have managed close to 25 projects of governments, and some of the projects are grants as well as seed funding. We are able to give the funding to startups on time. I don't know why, but we are able to do that. We timed our activities such a way so that we will not get into that trap at all. One is, if we don't have money, we don't open a call for application. That's something we don't do. And at the same time, whenever we have a grant, once we earmark the grant, we don't give that grant to anyone else. That's why we are able to match those timing and we are able to solve those problems. I guess some of the people can have those kind of approach to solve that kind of a problem.
So, Prasad, I have a very, very different question, which probably most of the people here don't have, but I think it's important to think. I just recently attended the secretary from DPIIT who was there in Ahmedabad for Startup India Seed Fund scheme, actually, because they are planning now the next tranche. One thing is specifically mentioned, and I'm sorry, but like he said that AIC funds are drying up. That's not going to come anymore. That's number one. Second point is said that every incubator has to be a sustainable incubator on their own. So have you got any thoughts? I'm sure like IIT Bombay doesn't require that from point of view that you get easy flow of funds and CSR registration, but and CSR funds actually. But honestly speaking, all the other incubators have a very different kind of challenge. And how are you as a leader in this incubation space planning to address that for other incubators, not for yourself?
So we started 20 years back. Okay. when the startup word was not even heard of and incubators were not even getting any kind of funding. HK Mittal sir is here. He can give more insight on that side. But having said that, it's when we started, it was not an easy journey. We were not getting funding. There were very limited funding, and that too, whenever we used to get the funding, that was only for the startups, not for the incubator operations. Now, luckily, government has understood that problem, and they are giving some kind of a fund as a management fee for the incubators to run the show. What I believe is that 5 to 7 year is more than enough for any incubator to come out with a revenue model, and they can be a sustainable model as well. That's what I believe. Fortunately or unfortunately, Sign is sustainable since 2004, because we ran a pilot from 2000 to 2004, and there we incubated close to 14 startups. That's where we got some kind of a motivation to create an incubator. And we approached DST to give some kind of a funding to us. But we are happy to say we never took that money, because we are able to get that funding from IIT Bombay to run the show. But having said that, one way of doing is that whichever institute you are associated with, you will be able to create some kind of a corpus which can be kept aside for running the incubator show in the beginning. Only in the beginning, and later on that fund can be utilized for the startup activities. Second is that there are so many schemes available in the government which is there for the incubator to manage startup as well as manage incubators. There are seed funding schemes, there are grant schemes. Everywhere you are having some kind of a management fee. That is second thing. Third thing, what kind of a value proposition you are bringing for the startups. For that, startups are getting incubated with you. That is the third piece, and which is the important piece. Why you are in existence. If you are an incubator, what is your value proposition for the startups? If they are coming to your incubator, what extra you are giving? If you are not giving anything, then don't expect anything from them. That's very clear, right? So that's something we have to answer. And if we have that zeal to go forward and create some kind of a value for the startup, first we have to ask that question to ourselves. What additional thing we are bringing to that startup? So having said that, at Sign level, what we do, I was not supposed to carry Sign slides, but I'm just... So what we offer, this is something which is out of the topic, but what we offer, one is infrastructure, everybody has it. I'm not going to talk about that. But having said that, just see the additional points what we are bringing. We have some kind of a 200 plus mentors. These are active mentors. I'm talking about active mentors. I'm not talking about inactive mentors. We may be having a database of more than 2000 plus, but I'm not going to talk about that. What I'm saying is that 200 plus mentors, how we are engaging. We talked about mentor creation, industry creation. Those things are very important. As an incubator, if we are not able to create a value for the startup, we do take equity, we do take revenue sharing, we do take rental. For all the support or all the value addition what we create for the startup, we are taking that equity, revenue and the rental. And I guess I don't know whether we are the first one to start the equity, but having said that, we are able to do that. We are sustaining on the basis of equity, revenue and the rental model. And how we do it, one is infrastructure, second is funding, third is mentoring, services, international programs, networking, visibility, manufacturing connects. I guess everybody knows the piece of what incubator has to do. We have to just do it. And how we are going to do it? By collaboration. If something is not in your institute or in your incubator, how you can collaborate with another incubator where you will be getting those facilities or getting those mentoring, where you can have co-incubation model. We talked about that, right? Something called co-incubation. We started, I guess, way back, maybe 10 years back, and we are doing co-incubation with multiple incubators. And we are happy to help other incubators, and we are mentoring. And in fact, I'm mentoring many of the incubators as well as startups. That's a different story. But having said that, if somebody is coming forward and they are facing some kind of a problem, we are there to help. At a ISBA level, that we are the body to help all other incubators if they are facing some problems.
I represent Jito. We already have a co-incubation with Sign actually, and we use your facilities also when required. In fact, the reason why I asked you the question, because we are self-sustained.
Okay.
From second year of operation as a pure incubator, and we are self-sustained. The reason why I'm asking you, because SIFS is coming down very strictly and telling that even this management fee of 5% they give right now is going to get abolished very soon actually.
But do we have to depend on only one fund?
Exactly. No. So no, question is whether should we dependent on fund itself. That is another question actually. That's the bigger question that's going to come in future. Because government is
So you
trying
are
to,
asking whether we should depend on government funding or whether
Exactly.
we should be going for another funding.
Exactly.
There are so many avenues. There are so many avenues now come up, and we should be tapping on that. If your incubator is 3-year-old, you can get a CSR funding from corporates. How many of you are actively tapping corporates to get the CSR funding?
So Prasad, while it's easy for academic institutions to get CSR,
No, I don't agree to that.
No,
I don't agree to that.
I
In fact, at
am
a
an example myself. I'm telling you actually, private incubators, it's very difficult to get the CSR because you don't get ATG in the first place. Forget CSR actually. CSR comes much later. So
No,
I'm just telling you
if
the
you are
problem.
a Section 8,
Yeah.
if you are a Section 8,
We are a
and
Section 8.
you have created incubation activity to help the startups,
Yes.
you will be able to get 12A and ATG. That's a different topic altogether. We will discuss over a dinner or tea. Okay, so now coming to the topic, how someone has to manage or implement the grants. What I have done is that I have kept very similar slides. If you see that slides, there are a lot more difference when you're managing grant and seed funding. I have kept it very simple so that everybody will understand. And there are, when I'm writing in one sentence or one word, there are little complication to this, whatever activities we do. But having said that, whenever there is a, how we source startups. One is by call for application. Grant is something, it's if you have got the grant from government, we have to do call for application. What we have to do is that we have to have some kind of a selection criteria which will help us identify good individual, good startup to come on our incubation, where you will be able to create some kind of a value to that startup, as well as you will be able to raise funding for them. So whenever we engage with any startups, for us or for whenever we engage with any individual, we see them as our potential startup. For us, those are the individuals who is going to create a venture someday, and they will be getting incubated with us. That's a secondary thing, secondary piece of our incubation. But having said that, we put our heart and soul to create some kind of a value for that individual or for that startup so that they can create a venture. If they are converting to incubation where there is an equity model, that is well and good. If not, we are okay with it. If you want to, if I can give the number, yeah. So we supported more than 1,000 plus entrepreneurs. So only 241 startups we have incubated. So we are not behind all the numbers. What we want is that if somebody sees a value in our incubation, they should be able to come forward and get incubated with us. That's what we believe. Sorry, I'm going here and there because, yeah. So one is individual LLP and private limited or startups we have to engage when we are giving grants. But having said that, what we believe is that uniqueness, what is the competition and competitive advantage, and target market or size they are going to target. Whenever somebody is approaching us, they are at an ideation stage or a prototype stage for the grant purpose, we first see what is the uniqueness they are going to bring. At an incubator level, our job is to give a very honest feedback whether that idea is going to work or not. How are you going to do that? So at Sign level, we have three level of shortlisting. First, we open a call for application. Second, at an internal review, we first see what kind of a uniqueness they are bringing. Third, what kind of a competitive or a competitive advantage they have, and the target market or size. If we have all the answers, then we take them to an external review. What we do at external review, we try to bring 3 experts. One is subject matter, second is investor, and third is industry. Whether those people will be able to survive. If the investor is happy to invest those kind of ideas, we are happy to guide them and take them in our grant program. If industry is planning to look into those kind of areas, we are happy to incubate them or give them some kind of a grant. That's what is some kind of a, and subject matter, of course, what kind of a tech they are talking, whether it is doable or not doable. That's something which we want to validate. And the stage, it doesn't matter to us if they are in prototype stage, product stage, or a revenue stage. Whichever grant we have, on the basis of that, we will be shortlisting. If the criteria is, if they have to be a revenue-based startups, we will be happy to engage with them. And what kind of a roadmap they are going to have. With that, whatever grant they are going to get, what kind of a roadmap they have, and what is they are going to achieve. After getting the grant, how they are going to use the grant, and do they have a capability to use the grant. This generally happens when you are giving grants to individual. At a startup level, we don't worry that much because we know this is a team behind that startup and they will be able to use that funding. That is something easy, but when we are engaging with individual, there you will be facing some kind of a problem, whether they have a capability to use the fund. That's something which you have to closely interact with them, understand, then only we will be. And some of the cases you have to take a gut, some kind of a gut feeling, then accordingly you have to take that risk. And grants, of course, when they are applying for the grants, there may be a grant which is 50 lakhs. But do you want to give that entire 50 lakhs to them? What kind of idea they are pitching? And do they require that kind of a funding? That is something is incubator's role, right? We have to see whether they really require, or you have to see, I am getting into a timeline where I have to disburse the entire fund, otherwise my money will go back. We are dealing with public money. We have to be mindful what we are doing. And something which we have to ask our question. So Nidhi Prayas is a scheme where you get 10 lakh rupees per startup. And in first cycle, I do remember we selected 18 startups. We had a big debate with DST. DST clearly told us, there is only 10 lakh rupees. How can you select 18 startups instead of 10 startups? We gave them the indication. There are 18 startups who require less than 10 lakhs. That's why we want to support 18. Of course, there is a burden on us because 10 startups you will be able to manage properly. But why you want to go for 18? But having said that, what we believe in Sign, whatever money you are getting, this is some kind of a taxpayer's money. You have to be mindful when you are using those money. Objectives like what kind of objectives they are going to achieve with those funding. If some of the startup or individual, they are managing some kind of a project which is 10 crore worth and you are giving 10 lakh rupees, do you really want to give that? Are they going to achieve anything out of that 10 lakh rupees? They may be an excellent individual or a startup, but with that 10 lakh rupees, are they going to achieve anything? That question we have to ask ourselves. If yes, answer is yes, and you will be able to bring another 9 crore for them, then of course you may have to look at that individual or startup. Okay, usage of grant I have already covered. Milestones to be achieved. Okay, this is something, one is grant. You can give that grant in one shot. Let's say for example, 50 lakhs, 10 lakhs, whatever it is. But what we believe in Sign, giving it in 1 or 2 tranches. The reason is that there is something, if somebody is not able to manage the grant, you have something called damage control. You will be able to save a remaining money. That's what we believe at Sign. But having said that, in some cases, some decision which has to be taken If somebody is not doing good, you have to take that money back. You have to try to get that money back. But if not, then you have to report it to government. That's what is the process everybody follows, and we also follow the same thing. And after giving grants, do you have to guide them, connecting them, or engage with them for any other funding? Of course, you have to. Because as an incubator, our role is not only giving grant, even if they are not your incubatee, but your job is to support that startup. And that is where the value addition part comes. What kind of a value addition you are able to bring? If you are able to bring those value addition, of course, they will be happy to get incubated with you. Okay, the process I already talked about. One is grant committee, what we generally have. One is internal as well as external. External, I talked about what kind of a party we have to involve. And third thing is that legally vetted document. And these are available on Sign website. If you want, you can get that thing. Also, we are trying to put it on our ISBA platform as well, where you will be able to get those kind of agreements. Those are going to be indicative agreements, which may have to be changed as per your requirement. Okay, the monitoring on the basis of milestone. Of course, whatever milestones they have given, you have to track them on the basis of milestone, how they are achieving those milestones, whether they are lacking or whether they are requiring some kind of a support to achieve those milestones. Then the quarterly, half-yearly review depends. It depends on program to program. Some of the programs are 6 months. You have to achieve those milestones within 6 months. If not, some of the programs are 18 months and all that thing, where you have to have a quarterly and half-yearly kind of a monitoring process. Connection to mentors, investors and industry, which we talked about. And I believe whether you are giving investment or whether you are giving grants, you should be able to do that thing as an incubator. Usage of fund through UCSC. I guess there is a format which has been given by government, which we believe we have to follow that, and that has to be CA certified. Because if you are dealing with hundreds of startups, every startup you will not be able to check their accounts. How are you going to check their accounts? So one way of doing is that you ask them to verify their UCSC through their CA. And now there is CA is accountable, right? He has to check that thing, he has to validate that thing, then the UCSC will be given to the incubators. The reporting to stakeholders, I guess Vijay's team touched upon. There are multiple tools available in the market now, and there is multiple players. There is Saatchi Connect, there is Accubate, there are multiple other tools where you will be able to take the subscription and you will be able to, one is onboarding, second is monitoring, third is tracking the life cycle of that startup. Be it grants, be it seed funding, you have to do the tracking of that startup. Accordingly, you will be able to give those numbers to stakeholders, be it government, be it any other stakeholders, even the corporates. Average timeline, what I believe, if you are managing a grant, it should be somewhere between 2 months max. Why I am saying that? One is 3 to 4 weeks of call for application and 2 weeks of scrutiny and shortlisting, 2 weeks of grant agreement formalities, disbursement, that's it. That's the maximum time one incubator should be taking if they are managing any grant. So these are some of the government grant funding schemes. I have not covered every grant schemes, but these are the active ones. But having said that, there are many more schemes available, and you can go on Startup India website. I guess many of the grants has been already listed. These are some of the grants which Sign is actively engaging, and I tried bringing that. Now the seed funding, there is no much difference. Only thing what we are doing here is that we are going to only deal with private limited companies, not with the individuals. Seed funding, because you are giving investment, you have to have a stake in the company. If you want to have a stake in the company, that company has to be a private limited. As simple as that. We don't deal with individuals when it comes to investment. But having said that, if you really observe the entire slide, there is no much difference. Only thing is the due diligence part and the IC part, that is the additional thing. And the reporting will remain same, all other remain same. And the timeline will increase because there is a due diligence, amount is more, and because you at sign level we do a due diligence at we outsource the due diligence part because there are multiple things involved. One is legal due diligence, second is financial due diligence, technical due diligence. We'll try to do it with IITB professors. That's how we deal with it. And the timeline, what I believe is that it's 3 to 6 months. If we are dealing more than 6 months, then it's better we let go that startup.
It's not linked to seed fund, but it's linked to, let's say we have funded this startup under some government scheme. Now the procurement, which procurement policy are we going to follow for the startup to procure the equipment or, any accessories?
This is out of syllabus question for me.
It's a tough question and I've been looking for answer.
I guess there is already a template which is already available, which is called GFR 2017.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
there is some kind of a procurement which is already listed.
But my question is, once the funding has been granted to the startup is a private limited
But
company.
startup, they don't have to follow this
They don't
GFR.
have to, huh? So my question, but the government, enforces. They want
I
us,
don't think so. Nowhere it is written. Nowhere, no policy, no sanction order which says
when
that.
you do your UCSC, they would ask for when you funded the startup and how was the
Ma'am, I have to
procurement done.
check I have to check which fund you are talking about, which sanction order, and which
I'm talking about
UCSC
DST
which has
funds
written.
only. DST funds.
Okay, so we will take this offline.
All right, no worries. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other question on seed grant or seed funding?
Yeah, Prasad, I have a question. Once you invest in a company,
By the way, we have signed a MOU with T-Hub. Sorry. So I will tell you what happens. Sign also has some kind of a thing which is not available at IIT Bombay. So we believe in collaboration. What we believe is that we will not be able to fix all the problem of startup. There is ecosystem players, how we can work together and solve the problem of startup. That is what we believe. And I guess we were the first one when we met in Mandi. I was the first one to go to Vijay and ask for can we sign a MOU? And I don't know after the MOU what we did, but having said that, there is exchange of startups that is started.
yeah, I have a question. Once you have your exit, so you will, you will get some return from your equity investments. So do you create that as a pool for reinvestment? I mean, do Sign have own
Yes.
funds to invest?
Yes, we do have that. That is called Sign Seed Fund. Okay, so I will tell you there are two things. One is Sign do take a equity when we incubate. When we incubate and when we get a return, we don't distribute that. It goes into our Sign pool where we do a funding. That is one part of that. Second, wherever we do a seed funding, there is a mandate from the government how we can utilize that fund once we get the return. It is there in the government mandate how we can utilize some of the portion. Some agency asks return. For example, I can vouch for DST. DST never asks money return, right? What they say is that whatever return you get, you have to plow back and you have to reinvest in startups. And I guess it is already well defined and I don't want to answer anything else on that. But having said that, at Sign level, whatever investment we do, some of the part goes into our pool. We call it as Sign Seed Fund where we do investment. Yeah.
We have got some debt funding and people have started repayment also. I just need to continue the consistency of repayment. I mean, I want to ensure that this happens continually. Because
Yeah, ma'am, what I believe is that many of the government agencies are not encouraging now loan, if I'm not wrong. Some of the agencies have started asking to invest by way of CCD or CCPS or equity.
it's SISF.
Yeah, so that's a CCD, if I'm not wrong. Ultimately, it is going to convert preference shares or equity. That is allowed? Okay.
Right now it's
Sorry,
plain debt.
we have not availed startup seed funding. I may be having limited knowledge about that thing. He's the chair.
Okay, no, I'm no longer the chair. That's let me just. It's both. You can give it as debt as well as also as CCDs.
Yes, sir. We actually have started giving debt and even started receiving the repayment also from some of the startups, but some they are a bit reluctant or resistant, which we feel difficult to deal with because we don't have any mandate or anything backing.
Let me just clarify that giving debt to startups is not a very wise idea. I don't know what others would say, but the only way you can actually multiply that investment is through either equity or
Yes.
CCDs.
Yes, sir.
So, and the burden of managing a debt also is quite heavy.
Yes. We managed debt in the beginning and we were able to successfully recover some of the loans. But having said that, as an incubator at a management level, we took a call. We are not going to do debt henceforth.
Just to answer your question, we are also SISFS incubator, and it is 20% grant, 80% CCD. That's the mandate. So you can go up to 20 lakhs and up to 50 lakhs on the other side.
So if you have a DST or some grant from a central government agency, what is the role of your host institute versus the incubator?
I guess there is no connection at all. If the money is directly come on your books, you have to manage that.
The host institute is the recipient of the grant, but the incubation center is, so there is a confusion there.
Okay, so but what I believe is that all the agencies now they are requesting incubators to incorporate their Section 8 or some of the entities so that they can have this transaction very clearly, right? I guess we at a sign we also manage Nidhi Prayas as a nodal agency. What we do is that unless and until there is no proper demarcation between host institute and the incubator, we don't give the funding to that incubator at all. We tell them to create a Section 8, then only we pass the money.
The government grant is first tranche is given, so it is going to the host institute, but it is mandated that host institute should follow the discipline and transfer it to the Section 8 company once there is a procedure and Section 8 company is set.
Correct.
So there is no confusion about it. The government funding from central government is coming only to the independently governed incubator.
I guess any incubators to run successfully, you have to have a backing of host institute. And when I am saying backing, there has to be a proper roles and responsibility. What is the role of host institute and what is the role of incubator? And I guess if you have that clearly put on some kind of a document, and there will be no conflicts. Yeah, any other question?
Just one question. We are an incubator in Punjab and we are a society. It is a standalone incubator. It is not associated with any institute or university. So societies are also eligible for this seed funding?
Okay, so sign is a society by the way.
Okay, fine. Thank you, you have answered.
The whole idea of the incubator, setting up the incubator was to set it up in a host institution. And the reason was you first have a university resources which are available, the institutional resources. You have students whom we want to encourage to become startups, and therefore that student body is there. And thirdly, you have to have land and other facilities which an incubator will not have initially to begin with. So it has to have the support of the host institution in order to do that. But for the running of the incubator, almost all the government agencies now have ensured that you have a Section 8 or you have a private limited status, and that gives the degree of independence from the host institution in being able to execute more agile and quickly, and not to have the procedures, the bureaucratic procedures of the host institute imposed on the incubator. So I think this role is very important because India has almost 39,000 colleges and 10,000 engineering institutions, and incubators as a way of being supported by a host institution is really what India needs, and that is the reason why this whole setup was there. And many people, when I go to different universities, there is an active collaboration between the university and the host institution. And if you're not actively collaborating, it is to the loss of the incubator from my perspective, because you're not leveraging a whole lot of resources capabilities and facilities, as well as the reach. Take, for example, the universities. They have connection to the placement network. Now, all the companies who are coming for placement, why do we not leverage them for supporting the incubation and the innovation? We are all looking at placement, but we are not looking at innovation collaboration. And this becomes a great vehicle for, in fact, every university should have a chief innovation officer in addition to a chief placement officer. And they both should work together to make sure that innovation that is happening through the incubator is got to be known by all the private companies who are coming for placement, and then they can further support through their CSR funds or other research projects. I thought I would just add this.
Yeah, so what I wanted to cover is that mode of investment, direct investment, everybody knows at an incubator level. One is loan, which we can give it to startup. Second is that co-investment and the grants. Grants, which we covered. Co-investment, which is both the incubators can invest in those startups. What I understand from government scheme, I may be wrong, but what I am saying is that if the scheme says we can invest 1 CR in startups, at sign level, if we believe we should be giving only 50 lakhs. And another startup thinks, another incubator thinks they can give or top up that another 50 lakhs from the same scheme or from the different scheme. We should be allowed to do it. But I guess there is little bit of confusion. But having said that, having different fund, investing in the same startup is possible at an incubator level. That's called co-investment. I talked about co-incubation. Now there is co-investment model, which you believe you will be able to support same startup and with a different fund. With the same fund, we can get the clarity from the government. Yeah, so one is equity investment, discounted cash flow method. Everybody knows DCF, and you can invest in startups. If co-investment, VCs or angel investment or somebody other investor is doing some kind of a valuation, you can do a co-investment. And when it comes to CCPS, OCPS, easiest way to invest in startups where you don't even have to do valuation of that startup. Okay, CCPS is compulsory convertible preference shares. OCPS is optionally convertible preference shares. Okay, these are some of the rights which we believe as an incubator you should be having it whenever you are signing an agreement with startups. But these agreements, whatever you are doing with startup, it should be a startup friendly agreement, not the incubator friendly agreement. So when I am saying incubator friendly, there are people who is already having some kind of an agreement which is investor friendly. So we should have a startup friendly. At an incubator level, we should advocate about startup friendly agreements. What kind of a funding? I'm only focusing on seed investment, not on the grant side. Whenever we do due diligence, there is internal review, external review, which we do. That is our own set of due diligence. But having said that, just to have a discipline in the books of startups, if startup is not having books, let's say for example, if startup is 3-year-old, then of course we do a proper due diligence. If startups are 1-year-old, where the books are not very proper, we try to do it at our internal level. By the way, I come from a finance background as well as some bit of legal knowledge. That's why it is easy to do it. But having said that, you should have in your team some kind of a capability who can do that thing. But having said that, there are people, there are service providers who are happy to do those kind of a due diligence.
So just, I know that many of you who have host institutes are run by Society and Trust, which falls under the Societies Act or Charitable Trusts Act. However, Section 8 company falls under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, which is a different animal. So what happens is, when you use the word due diligence, you will have to engage someone called company secretary, because CS is not something which trusts have. So this is something new. So what I would suggest, those who are new into this funding and all of that, you have to engage with somebody, because of course, Prasad Shetty has got a lot of experience. He's got that background. But other incubation managers, please engage with somebody, because it will be then legally vetted. somebody who will make sure all the forms are registered in the ROCs, whether if you're taking equity. So that is just a simple, humble submission to all of you. Don't try to do it, because we have seen when startups come to us having received fund from another incubator, and then when we as an incubator do the due diligence, we found that incubator had so many gaps that they actually had to give back the money, because it was not in compliance at all. And it is all in good faith, because incubator wants to give the money to the startup in good faith, good intention. But compliance and due diligence do not shortchange.
Having said that, ISBA does a lot of master classes, and we want you people to attend that as well, so that you can learn on seed funding management. Yeah, any questions? Or I will leave this slide or keep this slide. This is what is the impact what we created at Sign. We have supported more than 241 startups and close to or more than 1,000 plus startups. Current portfolio what we are managing is 77 startups. And graduate, when I am saying graduate startups, these are operational startups. They have gone out from Sign. And of course, we do have some kind of a failure in our incubation as well. We have some 48 startups have failed. And some 13 startups, this is something is very interesting. At an incubator level, we should also have some kind of a knack. If certain startups are having some kind of a synergies, we should be able to merge them if they are not independently able to go forward. And certain startups, if somebody is stuck at something, and you should get some kind of a corporate who can acquire those startups. That is what is incubator role, correct? And this is what when Sign is investing $1, startups are going out and they are raising close to $190. And combined valuation of Sign startup is around 3.56. And I guess our startups have created more than 300 plus IPs and 10,000 plus jobs. That's it. Thank you.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.